What is wrong with Lady Macbeth in Act 5, Scene 1? Support your answer with words from the scene. Now, this is the sort of question that you might get in an exam one day.
English is a core subject with rules and skills that transfer to every other discipline in the curriculum. This lesson on finding and using quotations balances work on reading and writing skills with the exam requirements of comprehension and deduction.
What is a quotation? Where do you get what someone is saying from?
The majority of tasks that we do in our lessons are reading and writing, so finding ways to overcome those hurdles is really, really important. I think following up behind that is a difficulty of language, of understanding how meaning connects to words, which often comes with dyslexia as well, and helping boys to cope with attaching meaning to language, so spending far more time on helping them to understand what words mean than you might do in another environment.
Reminder of our question: what is wrong with Lady Macbeth in Act 5, Scene 1? You've got this written down in front of you.
I think one of the key things is to just focus on one thing at a time. So what I've tried to do in my lessons is to just focus on one skill at a time. So in a conventional setting, you might have a task that asks them to produce a response to a text, answer a question, produce nice neat writing, lots of sentences and different sentence structure, a lovely title underlined, and so on, with good spelling, obviously. When you're teaching dyslexic students, it's really important for them to have their working memory and their focus sort of freed up so that they're just focusing on one thing. So in my lesson today, I was just trying to get them to do one thing, which was to find and use quotations. Different boys learn in different ways, and I guess dyslexic boys are no different. Some boys are going to take in most things visually, others mostly because they're doing stuff, others because they're hearing, auditory. And the most important thing is that you're catering for all of those different learning styles. So when I'm presenting them with information, it needs to be something that they can see, something that they can hear, and something that they can do. So the task that I gave them today involved a spidergram and a part of the text. So I gave that to them all in one place. So visually they had that on their tables. I also had it on the board, and then I talked them through it as well. I guess another thing that I did was to use colour. So with the different stages, the progression of that skill, obviously they're not all in the same place in terms of ability, and so they need to be able to identify where they are on the scale, and we use a rainbow to do that, partly because of the colour and the interest in colour that it can provoke. Dyslexic learners are often very visual. They like seeing things in multi-dimensions and so on.
We actually have to write sentences when we're answering a question like that. So you're going to follow this pattern of sentences to help you. Now, to do this, some of you are really confident writers, others of you not so confident. So what I want you to do is to pair up with someone next to you, unless you feel, actually, I'd rather do this on my own. They have had such a history of not being able to do what they've been given that self-esteem and the kind of yeah, I can do this kind of mentality is really, really important to promote, even if it means that their output is going to be slightly less impressive as a result. Because if they think this time, oh yeah, finding and using quotations, yeah, I did that before, I wasn't bad at that, that was fine. Then the next time they do it, and we try and do this skill cycle once every half term or a term at least, they'll have done it by the time these boys sit their GCSE. GCSEs, they will have gone through that cycle many, many, many times. So the next time they come to finding and using quotations, I need them to have the confidence that, yeah, oh yeah, last time I could do it, so this time I can do it. And they will make the improvements later down the line. We're not about needing all of the results being impressive all of the time. It can be incremental, and incrementally they will get there in the end.
No, it says hell is murky.
My top tip, I think, is just do one thing at a time. Choose what it is you want to assess that lesson, and make sure that everything in your lesson points towards enabling you to be able to do that, that enables the boys to prove to you that they can do that skill. So don't comment on the spelling, don't comment on the handwriting, don't comment on the underlining of the title. That's not what you're focusing on. You're focusing on one thing.
And to explain that.
So to recap Eleanor's main tips for teaching history. Create handouts that students can personalise by highlighting and annotating. Use colour to differentiate between learning points on the whiteboard. Introduce learning points one at a time. Revisit them frequently. Cater for a range of learning preferences.